Hey guys, I wanted to quickly record a video to talk about Trump tariffs and how it impacts software industry. So, firstly, what are tariffs? I will also go into direct impact on software industry, indirect impact, and general uncertainties it creates in the market. Firstly, what are tariffs? So, tariffs are you can think of it as taxes that are applied on things that a country imports from other countries, and it's a tool that countries have, that governments have, on regulating the markets. What happens is, if you are importing toothpastes from China or some other country, and as a country, or as a leader of a country, you don't want that to happen. What you want is local producers to come up and start manufacturing toothpaste. What you'll do is you'll let your local importers know that if in case you import your toothpaste from this particular country, then you'll have to pay, I don't know, 50% extra on every good you purchase. And what the impact of that is, people or the businesses in your local country have opportunity to start producing toothpastes, so that your local importers or local companies will actually choose you over these international suppliers. So that is essentially what it does. It tries to, tariffs in a way is a tool to increase local production or encourage, boosting local production in your country. So that's tariff. And what has Trump done to it? I think Trump has completely, he has gone crazy, because every day he changes his, the tariffs he's applying. I think sometimes retaliatory, like a lot of instability in general, because you can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. I think last week Trump declared tariffs, and I think they were like insane tariffs on many countries. Then next day he was almost like in a retaliatory war with China, because Trump put some strong tariffs on China. China increased the tariffs, Trump increased the tariffs even more, and then I think it's like it's going crazy. So let me now focus on software industry in specific. What is the impact of tariffs on software industry? Quick answer is absolutely nothing. Again, like, the detail is there is no direct impact, because software industry generally sells software services, right? So services in economics, I think whatever items that a country exports is categorized as goods and services. Goods are what tariffs apply on, services not exactly. That's why I think software industry is generally safe from a direct tariff point of view, because even if it's a digital product or maybe a services are like, maybe you are a company who are working with a US company to maybe build their website, or maybe consult them on AI or whatever. So these are services. Software services are, or generally any services, are not taxable from a tariff point of view, but goods are taxable. So anyone selling, I don't know, night lamps or toothpastes, I think there might be tariffs on that. Again, there is a lot of detail to that, and I'm not an economist, so I'm just like talking about this in a broad brushstroke way. But I think that's the reason, from a direct impact perspective, software industry is safe. Indirect, that's where there are some uncertainties, because what happens is the companies who generally use these software services may have to rethink their budgets, because now there is an uncertainty in the market. Sometimes they are not completely sure whether to invest in maybe growing their technology team or not, because the primary business is affected, because their supply chains are now, they have to think about it, because maybe the place where they were importing their goods from, I think have actually, tariffs will be applied to them. So because of those uncertainties, companies usually freeze hiring or rethink their budgets, or maybe cut down on their budgets, because they are now being conservative, they are being protectionist, they are being slow intentionally on making decisions around expansion or maybe around creating new products. So the indirect impact of tariffs on software industry is like, yes, there will be or there could be some uncertainties, but it's really hard to tell how, right? Because the direct impact is, okay, another point is software industries directly relate to GPUs, chips, sensors, and if these physical goods get expensive, which is a hardware, then sometimes it has a kind of an indirect impact on software industry as well. Because sometimes if I were to build if I'm a manufacturing unit, I'm trying to import all this hardware, and when there is a hardware, you usually need some software to pair along with it. So if I'm not able to import hardware at the cost that I was expecting, then of course I will delay that project or delay that decision. That means the existing contracts I may have had with other software industries, I'll have to slow down, and I'll have to question whether I need to go ahead or not. So that's the indirect impact again. And the third point was the uncertainties, and the uncertainties it is creating in the markets is it is and the third point is about uncertainties it is creating. So the whole world is now just sitting and watching and not able to take decision in a really crisp way, because every second day the Trump is coming up with new policies. It's very unpredictable, and maybe it's intentional, from Trump. Trump is a person who kind of takes risks. And think about it in a bigger picture, the signal this is sending, even if one day it talks about more tariffs or less tariffs, that uncertainty is an indirect signal to the importers and businesses in US, that if they prefer local suppliers over international ones, they will generally be more stable, right? And that indirect signal, the world basically is getting this indirect signal, and even if there is no active tariff, because I think there is now a 75-day freeze on tariff. This is the last news I heard. I'm sure like when you watch this video, the news will completely be different. And because of these things, I think there is uncertainty. There is also uncertainty because of AI, because every second day people are coming up with sensational news and statements that AI is going to replace mid-level engineers, or maybe software engineers, or maybe I don't know, accountants, or I don't know what. Like it's going completely crazy. And that's why what we can do, being in a position of what we can control is ourselves. So what we can control is ability to learn, because there's just one thing that can keep you going in any change in the market, is your ability to learn new things. If in case your jobs or our jobs vanish overnight, if we can learn new jobs quickly with AI, maybe that might keep us stable. Anyways, that's not going to happen, but I think this was just a hypothetical. But I think what I was trying to emphasize on is the ability to learn new things, and the muscle of learning new things day to day. And this just habit and this system of somehow learning something almost every month, every week. So the more you invest in learning, maybe it could be a random learning, right? One day you are learning about film production, other day you are learning about playing a musical instrument, third day you are learning a new language. This muscle of learning new things, I think it just keeps you going, and also makes you a more interesting and well-rounded person. So I'll stop talking about tariffs now. It's going crazy. I'm sure by the time you watch videos, things would have been completely changed. And that's the kind of world we are living in right now. So for now, happy Friday. Or if you're watching this on a weekend, then happy weekend, and catch you next week. Bye-bye.